I'm realizing maybe, oh my gosh, I have not been live on YouTube this whole time, you guys. Well, welcome. If you are on YouTube, say hi, hello. And I've been on TikTok for a while. So if you are on TikTok, hey, you got all of this super fun stuff that we've been through so far. And if you're on YouTube, say hello, because I want to know how long you've been waiting. And I can't believe you've been waiting for that long. Dang. Well, I've just been vibing with the TikTok fam, so that is what it is. Super huge thanks to Thorweb. You cannot have anything not go wrong. Of course, something has to whenever you stream. That is my motto, and it is what it is. Okay, well, for all of you YouTube people, again, welcome. We are going through just a ton of different reels from Doc Amen. He is, in my opinion, a wellness grifter. We just are watching one about blood sugar, and I called it. He's selling us a supplement right after the blood sugar part, and whatever. So, yeah, welcome here. And then throw in the chat. If you're from the Discord, I want to say hi to you there too. Okay, let's continue.
Designed to stabilize your blood sugar and fuel your brain. It contains dihydroberberine, 30 times more absorbable than regular berberine. Gymnema, the sugar destroyer, trans resveratrol, powerful brain and metabolism support. No more crashes, no more brain fog, just clarity, focus, and a steady blood sugar and steady energy.
Okay, well, conversely, everybody, instead of buying a supplement, what could we do? We could eat protein with our fiber, with our fat, and just have a balanced plate. That's what we could do. You don't need to waste your money. Also, yeah, Josh, can you imagine if he joined the lives? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he's generally a nice person. Like, he seems like a nice person. He just also gives me very large wellness grifter vibes. Let's see. Oh my gosh, my live is not eligible for recommendation and restricted in search results because it contains content. Okay, whatever. Well, we can continue. Give me 2 seconds here. Okay. But yeah, just eat that stuff. I don't know. Can you guys even hear me still? The live looks like it's restricted on TikTok, but maybe it won't be on YouTube. So if you're not on YouTube, just go to my link in my bio. Go to the YouTube. Sorry, YouTube, if you're watching, you just skip through all this part if you're watching, like, the last part. Because we're just going to go finish out on YouTube. Because apparently my live here is restricted on TikTok. Okay, I will see you later, TikTok, and come over to the YouTube one. Okay, see you there in 2 seconds. All right, I'm going to end the one here if I can figure out how to do that. All right, back here on, where are we? We are on YouTube. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so sorry. I've been so scattered today. But again, you cannot have a live without any flukes. So let's continue going through all these different ones. All right. So
over-focused, ADD, short attention span, distractibility, but also worried, rigid. If things don't go your way, you get upset. You tend to be argumentative and oppositional. Low levels of dopamine and serotonin, and so we have to raise them both. I wrote a book about children and grandchildren of alcoholics a long time ago. That's this type, over-focused ADD. And at the time, it's 1994, I talked about how Prozac and Ritalin together can just be miraculous for them. But since then, I've learned a lot about supplements, so we could use L-tyrosine or green tea, rhodiola, ashwagandha to help with focus, and then 5-HTP or saffron to help with.
Ooh, did he just say rhodiola over and then also 5-HTP? That's not, we do not do that together. No, that can induce serotonin syndrome. Do not listen to that advice. Okay, continue.
With serotonin. Over-focused, ADD, short attention span.
Okay, yeah, so why did TikTok suppress it? I'm pretty sure it's because I, let one of them go too long, and then it was like, oh, wait, this is, somebody else's content, which is super valid. But also, I don't know, that's... whatever. That's... I don't know what to do. But it happened to my Hero Man reaction video, too, and I don't know what the heck is going on, because so many people can do all these reaction videos, and here I am, just trying to, have fun with you guys. And they think it's, not cool for me to. It's discrimination. Okay, let's continue.
Type 1, people have ADD. It's actually ADHD. This is the classic ADD person. Distracted, short attention span, disorganized, procrastinates, impulsive, and restless. So it's classically what people think of when they think of ADD. They do better with a high protein, low carbohydrate diet.
Oh, I think that we watched this one already. Well, over on TikTok, so we didn't watch it over on YouTube, but that is fine. We just talked about how, high protein, it's really helpful for literally every single person with ADHD. And low carbohydrate, that's not technically it. It's more like high fiber, lower, refined carbohydrates. So, think just not having as much bread as you really desire. Let's just skip the rest of this one because we've already watched it. Some of y'all have. Actually, you know what? No. I can sit through it again. I can do that.
Stimulants can help. We're stimulating supplements like green tea, rhodiola, ashwagandha, ginseng.
Yeah, okay. Continue.
So negative thoughts are actually very common with ADHD because of the sleepy frontal lobes. Many people who have ADD are conflict-seeking, drama-driven, negative-seeking.
That's not really a frontal lobe thing. I mean, it kind of is, I guess. Not really. Anyway.
And what I find is they use their own negative thoughts to scare them to increase their own dopamine levels. And so I often have them write down the bad thoughts, take them through our ant-killing process.
I'm sorry. What's an ant-killing process? Has anyone actually heard him say that before and understands what he means by ant-killing process? Let's put on our thinking caps here. What could he possibly mean by that? I don't know. I have a lot of ants at my house right now. So is it throwing disinfectant on it? Probably not. Okay. Maybe he'll explain it.
And get them to stop scaring themselves in order to focus. So,
okay, I guess I've never heard of this type of theory before. You scare yourself to give you more dopamine. Automatic negative thoughts. Okay, that makes sense. That makes more sense than literal ants. Okay, cool. Yeah. I don't know. Again, like I said, it's not really a frontal lobe thing. It's more like the hippocampal region / the other emotional processing regions of the brain. But it's fine. It's important to go to therapy if you have a lot of negative thoughts. That's my thing that I want to say out here.
In the way of intimacy is rejection sensitivity syndrome, which is very common in ADD. People...
There we go again. ADD. Not real. Whatever.
Often, because of the impulsivity, they wear their feelings on their sleeves. And and are often very sensitive to not being noticed, very sensitive because they think they've done something wrong. And it's on top of years of perhaps impulsivity where they did things that got them into
right, where they did feel like it was wrong.
into trouble.
So if an ADD partner feels
In the way.
Okay, this might be a super hot take. Bear with me, okay? I want to also hear your thoughts on this because I do. I actually think that, first of all, what we call rejection sensitivity, it's RSD, so rejection sensitivity dysphoria. I don't know where he's getting the syndrome from. And it's also technically not even in the DSM yet or the ICD, which is like our main theories, but it is a theory, okay? And I do think that it has a lot of stuff behind it, but I don't think it's actually an ADHD thing. Like, maybe that's a super hot take. I actually think it's more of a trauma thing where you're over processing the different inputs from every single person around you and trying to people please excessively so that you can, it's like basically an overdriven fawn response. And I honestly do think that's more rooted in trauma versus ADHD. Like, obviously ADHD has a lot of emotional dysregulation. That is like a key feature, right? But I don't know. I've never met a person with ADHD who thinks that they have RSD who also doesn't have trauma history. That's my take on RSD. Kind of spicy. I don't know. I feel like RSD's been kind of a very large topic lately, but I think it's real. I had it, and I also feel lately that I've been much better at it. There's some things nutritionally we can do to help with emotional regulation. Again, it's mostly just eating your protein and your fiber and pairing them together. But yeah, I don't know. Okay, continue.
What if I told you that mushrooms could reprogram your immune system and even improve your memory? It sounds like science fiction, but it's real. A groundbreaking study from McGill University discovered that beta-glucans, natural compounds found in all mushrooms, can reprogram your immune cells to fight infections.
Yeah, I don't know if I've read this specific study, but mushrooms in general are actually very good at helping your body reduce inflammation. So this is why mushrooms are on one of the foods I recommend people eat if you can tolerate them. I personally hate mushrooms with a passion, but I have been working on increasing them. It just is hard. I have to hide them in my foods, but that has been one of my goals for the year. That all being said, what are the odds it's going to follow that same pattern of, here's a study, now buy my supplement? Does he even have a mushroom supplement? I don't know. I have no idea what he has on his website.
While reducing harmful inflammation. Most flu-related deaths aren't caused by the virus itself, but by an overactive immune response.
Yeah, that is actually true. Sort of. It's more like the severity is related to how your body reacts. Like, we want to have a good immune system, but we also want to make sure that we have enough sickness to improve the immune system, and it's a very complicated thing. But sometimes we have immune systems that are overreactive, and that's where we get stuff like ulcerative colitis or fibromyalgia. So
this research, published in Nature Immunology, shows that mushrooms can help balance and strengthen the immune system, keeping you healthy year-round. But beta-glucans are just the beginning. Different mushrooms provide unique benefits for the brain and body. Lion's mane enhances memory and focus. Reishi supports immunity and calms stress. Cordyceps boosts energy. Turkey tail strengthens gut and immune health.
Oh, I just paused it right as I see he pulls something up. I was going to just comment on like the different mushroom stuff. Technically, not all of those are fully, like, they're not all fully researched to like have those claims, but hopefully soon we will have some better research with mushrooms. I think mushrooms are super cool.
That is why I created Smart Mushrooms from BrainMD, a premium blend of 6 powerful mushrooms to support your brain, body, and energy levels every day.
Yep. There it is. It's really not a surprise anymore, y'all. Like, study my supplement. It's just such a classic move. I'm not going to listen to him finish that. Like, I don't know. I think, again, mushrooms are pretty cool. You know what's better? Just eat your whole mushrooms. Like, we don't know for sure if that supplement actually has everything it says it has in it. And also, are the doses even going to be helpful? Probably not. It's just more helpful to eat your mushrooms. Anyway.
Highlighting the hyperactive component, which basically threw out half the people
Right.
who had it.
So doesn't that mean that a lot of people
girls.
won't get diagnosed then?
Especially girls.
Right.
Because girls often have the inattentive type. I was furious because I knew it was wrong. And in 1994, so 1980, the DSM-3, 1987, DSM-3 revised edition. So that's the culprit. 1994, they sort of figured out the error of their ways, but rather than, most guys can't say sorry, they changed it again to AD/HD. I'm like, well, what the hell does that mean? It means we made a mistake, and a lot of people who have ADD are never hyperactive.
I'm just not really following what he's saying. I think he's trying to go through the changes of ADHD over the years and like how we had separate diagnoses of ADD and then ADHD. So the last change that we had that he was talking about there is where we changed it to the 3 subtypes. I'm not sure where he's getting the AD/HD. I mean, kind of, I guess. That's like not cool. Poo-pooing on our changes. Like, that's what science is about. Like, changing so that we can understand things better. But yeah, no, I'm not sure what the point here was. Okay, women with ADHD who are mixed diagnosed and not hyper. That's just ADHD PI. Like the not hyper. But the reason why we have ADHD PI is because we still are hyperactive. It's just the hyperactivity is not externalized, it's internalized. So I feel like he needs to take some CEUs, some continuing education. I don't know. That's so confusing. Yeah, Matt just sounds like he's talking in circles. That is exactly what it sounds like. Okay, let's go to the next one.
They looked at people who had primarily a fat-based diet.
Okay, I'm sorry. I kind of want to figure out what he's going to say here. Brain expert reveals the foods destroying your brain. I bet he's going to say carbohydrates. That is my guess. Also sugar, but that is carbohydrate. Okay, does anyone else have any other guesses? I'm trying to think of what else he can be. Maybe he's probably going to say food dyes or preservatives. I think that's what he's going to talk about.
So fish, healthy oils, avocados, nuts and seeds, they had 42% less risk of getting Alzheimer's disease. And then they looked at people who had
processed
primarily
foods.
a protein-based diet. So think of a caveman diet, 21% less risk of getting Alzheimer's disease. And then they looked at people that had a standard American diet, simple carbohydrate-based diet, bread, pasta, potatoes, rice, fruit juice, sugar, a 400% increased risk of getting Alzheimer's.
Okay, so I did hit the carbohydrate. We did talk about how, like, it's more of the American style diet. Okay, honestly, yeah, the westernized diet is not good for our brains. But again, it's not like what we're eating, it's the ratios of what we're eating. So just keep a lookout for my YouTube video that I'm going to post sometime, hopefully in the next month, about the ratios of foods you need to be eating, like how to make a plate that's going to help your ADHD brain the most, according to the research. But it's not specifically the fact that we're eating these things, like the breads or the processed foods. It's more that we're eating too much of them. And also, I don't know if this study is real. Like, it's very possible it is, because like we do just have some evidence about like the associations of Alzheimer's and the westernized diet. However, I don't know. He never like gives the studies. One of the studies that he said on a podcast, I think was very similar to whatever this podcast is. He made up a study about ADHD. I'm the person who literally knows every single study on ADHD and nutrition, and he just made the study up. So I don't know. It also makes me a little concerned because it sounds like he is promoting a fat diet. It's like high fat, and high fat is fine, but like there's a lot of things negative that can come from a high fat diet. Specifically, it can increase like risk of neurodevelopmental disorders if you're pregnant and you're on a high fat diet, which is like the keto diet. So like that's not good. But then it also makes your gut microbiome not super happy, especially if you're not eating enough fiber. So at the end of the day, just follow the actual diets that work. So there is a study that came out in 2025 about, it's called the MIND diet, MIND. I don't remember what it stands for, but it's basically the diet to reduce Alzheimer's, and it is basically also the ADHD diet, which is really cool. So you can look that up. And that one was associated with the best improvements in, or the lowest, like not Alzheimer's-ness. It was actually tied with the Mediterranean diet, though. So you can also just follow the Mediterranean diet if you want to reduce your risk of Alzheimer's. I don't know if he's going to talk about that here, though.
Disease. It's the sugar and the foods that quickly turn to sugar, which goes with the insulin diabetes type 3 hypothesis. You have to manage it. And the reason this is so important to me is having high blood sugar makes your blood vessels brittle and more likely to break, which means it takes longer for things to heal and you're more likely to have a stroke. And having a stroke increases your risk of Alzheimer's tenfold. They looked at people.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, if you just want to improve your risk or decrease your risk of Alzheimer's. Oh, actually, on my Patreon, make sure that you subscribe like before the end of the month, because I actually do have a How to Decrease Your Dementia Risk ebook. Every single month I have a new ebook that comes out, and that one was the one from last month. So any tier, you'll get it. If you're in the $7 a month tier, you'll only have access till the end of the month. Otherwise, if you're on any other tier, you'll get access to it for a few more months yet. So that's just in my bio. Next one. I'm not a fan of fruit juice. Okay, I wonder why. Oh, okay. Actually, let me look at the comment here. ADD, just mostly ADHD, could be wrong. Yeah, back in the I think it was 87. Might have been 94. I don't remember the specific date. We changed it to just ADHD. So that is one thing that bothers me. Again, like, it's not ADD. If you're a psychiatrist, use the correct terminology at least. Like, I don't know. Whatever. Okay, not a fan of fruit juice for your health. going to try to think. I bet he's going to say about, like, it's quick sugar or something. I'm a fan of fruit juice for your health. It contains polyphenols, and polyphenols are the one thing that actually improves brain neuroplasticity. Again, consume it with protein. I don't know if he's going to say that, though. Let's see.
Why? Whenever you unwrap sugar from its fiber source, it actually turns toxic in your body.
What? I'm sorry, did he just say, like, when you take fiber away from the fruit source, it turns toxic in the body? I can't. What does that even mean? It means nothing except you just pulled something out of your ass. Okay, also, Matt, yes, I am trying not to be distracted. It's so hard. There's so many things that distract me right now. But what? Okay, maybe he's gonna explain it. I hope he explains this, because I would love to be educated on why fruit juice turns toxic. Okay, let's find out.
And now, a new article, simply orange juice, everybody's favorite. Coca-Cola is being sued because it's been...
Wait, okay, we went to orange juice. A research study on orange juice. And then Coca-Cola is being sued because it contains high level of PFAS. What is this real? Is this a parody real? Is it actually real? It is from Doc Amen or Amen. Okay.
Found to have high levels of PFAs, forever chemicals, so many bad things. You want to just ask yourself, is what you're putting in your body serving your health or stealing from your health? I'm not...
I'm like baffled. I'm like the multiple question marks in a row right now. I can't even... I'm so confused. Okay, well, if you want a fun fact about orange juice, because he just like said, or there was a study on orange juice, oranges, even orange juice, can improve your insulin sensitivity. So that's cool. Oranges specifically have been one of the few fruits that are associated with decreasing your depression risk and severity, not the depression risk, depression severity, through how it affects your gut microbiome. So, I think orange juice is great. Obviously, yeah, it is helpful to have the fiber with it, so do consume a orange juice that contains some more pulp, ideally, or else you can just have fruit juice and make sure you're having fiber with it or protein with it, and then you'll be fine. I just don't understand this short. I wonder if he was getting at the fact that some orange juices have some preservatives in them. Most orange juices don't, but some of them do. Maybe that's it. But okay, I will say something about fruit juice though. Be very careful and make sure that you are getting 100% fruit juice, because a lot of fruit juices out there are actually just hummingbird water, which is just like sugar water. I accidentally bought a carton of, what was it? I think it was some mango guava one. And I got home and I was like, I'm just so excited to eat or drink this. And then it was literally 80% corn syrup. And it's horrible. Just make sure it's 100% fruit juice. Double check your labels. That's all. I don't know what this reel was. That was Very confusing. Okay.
A study from University College London found that adults with ADD or ADHD live
Just ADHD. Go take a course.
shorter lives than those without it. Men with ADD live about 7 years less, while women live nearly 9 years less.
Yeah, so this was a real study, so we do know that for sure. I don't know how many of y'all have like heard about this study yet. I know it like made the rounds on social media, and I'm really grateful it did. But yeah, basically what we found was that people with ADHD have shorter lifespans. However, if they are medicated, that like risk basically disappears. And so it's really connected to how both ADHD medication improves our ability to do a lot of these different like lifestyle habit changes that reduce our deathness. But it also like improves our mental health. So like we are less suicidal, or we're also better at driving. Oh my gosh. I feel like lately I've been getting really bad at driving. I don't know. It's been hard. I'll like kind of zone out a lot, or like it's hard. Have you all ever heard of like the blinking method? That's something that I use whenever I'm driving. It really helps. You just like blink really hard while you drive sometimes when you notice yourself. But okay. Anyway, 3 reasons they tend to die early. My top 3 reasons based on that one is just like untreated ADHD in general. I think that's the biggest thing that makes people die earlier. And like that's connected to how women with ADHD tend not to get diagnosed earlier, you know? Okay, continue.
One important fact, women with ADD are often not diagnosed. Their symptoms
There we go. Good job. Good job, Doc Amen.
often look different, like anxiety, depression, or trouble staying organized.
Or it's also just how society looks at females and thinks, wow, you can't have ADHD.
Instead of hyperactivity or more severe impulsivity. Recognizing ADD early can help women and men live longer, be healthier, and have more success in their lives. So why do people with ADD live less long? ADD is characterized by lower activity in the front part of the brain, an area called the prefrontal cortex, which is the brain's brake. It stops us from saying or doing things that are not in our best interest for our health, our wealth, or our relationships, causing chronic stress for those who have it and those who love people with ADD. I know more about this than I want to know. Chronic stress from being late, not finished.
Okay, yeah, I do agree with this. ADHD causes chronic stress, and like that chronic stress makes the ADHD worse. And then I honestly think that stress is one of the worst like things that we just haven't researched enough of. I mean, there is like good stress obviously, but like chronic stress specifically is so bad for our bodies. Yeah, Matt, untreated ADHD people are more likely to get Alzheimer's. Yeah, that is very true. That is what we see with the research. And when we put people on medication, like when they compared the medicated group versus the non-medicated group, the non-medicated group had no increased risk of Alzheimer's. So that is, well, it was specifically dementia. So I think it covered a lot of different types of dementia, including Alzheimer's. So yeah, it just really helps us do those things that help us reduce our risk of dementia, like actually eating in a way that helps our brains, and also exercising. Specifically exercising is one of the best things to help that.
Finishing their work on time, or procrastination and struggling with organization. And it's not just about lifestyle. ADD also costs more money. Adults with ADD spend about $4,000 extra a year on general medical costs, not psychiatric costs, and they often earn less at work than their peers and struggle living up to their potential.
I actually am impressed that he is talking about the social determinants of health. That's good job. Good job, Doc Gaiman. You are talking about what is actually impacting people with ADHD. And yeah, financial things is the biggest. I mean, like, that causes so much stress in general too. And then also that, like, stress of feeling like you're not living up to your full potential. I feel that literally every single day. I feel like I can do so many different things and my feelings are not reality. But unfortunately, my brain does not recognize that, even though I can tell my brain, your feelings are not reality. You need to be, like, setting better expectations. But then I think, like, oh my gosh, my expectations are actually fine. They are normal expectations. They are not high expectations because I don't feel high because, I mean, I don't know. I don't think they're high. And then you burn out. Yeah.
But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be that way. Getting diagnosed and treated can help people with ADD live longer, happier, and richer lives. At Amen Clinics, we've been scanning and treating people with ADD for over 30 years. We discovered that it is not one thing. There are at least 7 different types.
Okay. We are going back to the 7 different types. All right. Which is, again, he has not published any research on this, which makes me think, since you have published research on a ton of other different things with your brain scans, but you have not published things on your ADHD brain scans, that means that you have not passed peer review, or you know that it's not going to pass peer review, and so you don't even try. So, I don't know. Also, it's kind of ironic here because he is talking about how people with ADHD have a lot more financial difficulties, and then they, like, now he's plugging his system here of treating people with ADHD, and to get a single brain scan, it's about $10,000. I don't know. That just makes me feel gross. Personally, makes me feel gross.
Of ADD and targeting treatment to your specific brain type rather than a cluster of symptoms is absolutely essential to getting the right help. Take our free ADD type test at addtypetest.com to learn more.
Or, hear me out, don't spend your money on something that hasn't been studied and researched and published. Okay, moving on.
Welcome back to our series on why BrainMD has these products. And I created Neuralink, and Neuralink was actually the first product. Why BrainMD exists. It's got 5-HTP to help boost your...
I kind of don't want to watch this. It's just about his supplement. Yeah, no. I don't know. Maybe we will. No, he doesn't ever link his sources. That's something that also bothers me. I know that a lot of the sources he talks about are real because I actually read them. I look at a ton of research almost every single day, and some of the stuff that he talks about does pop up, and then I'm like, okay, yeah, I've read that. That tracks. But then, because he doesn't link all the stuff, people, like, even though, like, they shouldn't, they just believe that it is legit. Ugh, makes me just so gross. But yeah, studies show without linking is really annoying.
Serotonin levels, GABA to help quiet the noise in your brain, and tyrosine to help boost dopamine. The most effective, if you're struggling with worry, with focus, with anxiety, this is the product.
I don't want to watch that. Kind of going back to that whole thing with the sources part, I think the thing that bothers me is that, yeah, he does have like the sources that he talks about, like this new study. Sometimes I can find them, but then you just can't trust it because he also had this one about ADHD, and maybe I should just pull it up if you haven't watched it yet. basically, he made this claim that there was a study from Holland with 300 people, and basically he's like, you eliminated all of these different things, and then it improved and eliminated ADHD in 72 or something percent of the people. That study, there is no study like that. That is just made up. Completely made up. And I even like spent an hour double checking my memory and really going into all the research that I could find. It does not exist. It's just, makes me feel, why would you make up a study? Obviously just to like sell your stuff, but that's my feelings. I get like activated when I think about that, because I just hate like people preying on people with ADHD. It's just like, there are things we can do, but like, don't make up bullshit.
Today, the FDA finally banned red dye number 3.
Okay. Let's see if I can guess what he's going to say. I bet he's going to say something about how, like, it is cancer causing, which is sort of true. It is cancer causing in rodents at an excessively high dose that you will never, ever reach, even if you consumed just full on red 3 for, like, gallons. But, I bet he's going to be like, wow, this is, like, the best thing that's happening. And in reality, it's, like, it doesn't matter. I don't know. That's my opinion. I don't care if you take out food dyes, but, like, statistically, it's not doing anything for your health either way, helping it or hurting it.
A synthetic coloring linked to cancer in lab animals, a decision long overdue. This petroleum-based dye has been widely used in candies, sodas, and cereal.
Actually, it hasn't been widely used. Most people in the, like, most productions in the US, like, don't use it at all. Actually, I'm not sure what he said widely used, because that's not true. Like, barely anything uses red 3 anymore.
Despite mounting evidence of trouble, brain health is directly impacted by what we eat or drink. Artificial dyes have been associated not only with cancer risk, but also hyperactivity and behavioral issues in adults and children.
Okay, so no, it has not been linked to hyperactivity or behavioral issues in adults. That is false. We have actually 0 research studies that show that. In about 8% of kids, though, we do see that. But again, it's not linked to ADHD. It's linked to histamine. So, just some fun facts here.
As a child psychiatrist, I have kids completely lose their tantrums when parents eliminated artificial food additives. It's time this ban expands to all artificial dyes.
Okay, you actually want to know another fun thing? So many of these people in the US who talk about like food dyes and like we need to ban all these food dyes, and they're like, look at Europe, they're so much better. You want to know something funny? The US actually bans more food dyes, like more artificial food colorings than Europe. Isn't that like funny how we have a lot of this, and then they're like, wow, Europe is so much better, and then poo-pooing on the FDA. The FDA is doing its job. Whatever.
Protect your mind and the mind of your children by prioritizing whole foods you love that love you back. Remember, with better food comes a better brain, and with a better brain comes a better life.
Or, hear me out, just focus on eating, like you said, whole foods in variety, lots of plants, lots of fiber, lots of protein. And then it doesn't actually matter if you have red dye, because it will make basically 0 difference in your life. Okay.
What you don't know about sugar. So many people go, is it really that bad? Well, besides, it's got no nutritional value.
I mean, besides the fact that, like, sugar is a type of, like, glucose, sucrose, fructose, like, there's a lot of different types of sugar. The fact that our brain works on them, I mean, but whatever.
And it's addictive. And
I mean, it's not addictive. It's only addictive when it's restricted, when we look at all of our research on sugar and addiction.
And it's pro-inflammatory.
Again, only pro-inflammatory if we have too much of it. When we don't have enough of it, it can actually also be pro-inflammatory, but that's more like just a very extremely low-carb diet, inflaming our gut. There's just a lot of, like, big claims here. Like, yeah, sugar's not the best for you if you have too much of it. And I will say most people do have too much of it. So, I mean, in general, it's not bad advice. But, like, sugar is not bad for your health. It's fine. Just don't have more than 25 grams of sugar a day. And ideally, don't have all that at one time, because that can actually impact your dopamine receptors. So, do be careful. Sugar-sweetened beverages are a big culprit. Kind of like what I talked about with the fruit juice. But I don't know if he's going to get into that nuance. I bet he won't.
And it feeds cancer cells.
My gosh. We're going on that tangent and lie too. We actually, no, that's, I wish I could just, like, pull up a different screen right now and show you some studies on sugar and cancer, but that's actually completely false. The thing is that, like, sugar, yeah, it does sort of feed cancer cells, but that's because sugar feeds every cell. So,
No, it's not good for you. I only want you to love food that loves you back. What you don't know.
I mean, no, sugar's fine. I don't care. Again, like I said, just have it in moderation. Be aware of your sugar intake. That's a good idea. But only start being aware of your sugar intake after an added sugar intake. Remember, added sugar. Only think of that after you've been practicing eating enough protein and eating enough fiber. Because that's the thing. Add first, you can subtract later after you have your foundation. Okay.
Low blood flow is the #1 brain imaging predictor of Alzheimer's disease.
How do you get low?
Sorry, the music in the background is, like, so distracting. But yeah, actually cerebral blood flow is super important. It's actually really important in ADHD too. I talked about that in my blueberry video. I don't know if you watched that before, but we do want to make sure that we have good cerebral blood flow. And if you want to know how to do that, guess what it is? Antioxidants. That's how you improve your blood flow in your brain. And that is plants. Again, just eat a lot of plants. And you're going to be great for your brain.
Low blood flow, caffeine,
Oh, shit.
nicotine,
Marijuana, alcohol, having a sedentary lifestyle, being overweight. Low.
That was kind of a bop. I don't know. I guess I don't have much else to say about that. It is true. Like, when you're more overweight, like if you're at a weight that's not ideal for your body, like that can restrict blood flow in your brain. And it is one thing that some people are connecting to Alzheimer's, being overweight. So, I mean, it really is just like doing what you can for your body and trying to be healthy, and also recognizing that there's a lot of other things in play too, like your history and how you even know how to cook food. What is your financial situation? But I guess it's hard to get into that nuance in a very short reel.
Do psych meds actually heal anything? Let's be clear. Psychiatric medications are not cures. They don't fix the underlying problems causing depression, anxiety, or ADHD. What they do is mask the symptoms.
I think this is another example of a very large claim that needs a lot of nuance, because for some people, right? Like, it is actually not masking anything. But for other people, it could be masking it. I don't know. It's kind of hard.
Temporarily calming an overactive brain or stimulating an underactive one. But here's the catch. The brain often fights back. Over time, it adjusts and the symptoms come back to where they started or even worse.
It's kind of weird that a psychiatrist is saying something like this. I mean, it is also important. Like, it's an important discussion. I will say, though, for ADHD medication specifically, and I'd love to hear some of your thoughts on this too, if you have had medication before, what I've personally noticed and what I've seen when I've been talking about ADHD medication and, like, hearing people's comments is that, like we talked about earlier in the TikTok part of the live, that ADHD meds can improve your brain structure, and it can even improve the brain structure if you're an adult. And so it's less of like it's going to like make it worse if you have ADHD. It's more like it can actually make it easier to handle ADHD for like a lot of people. That's what they've told me. So again, I'm not on medication, which is kind of a bummer, but perhaps one day we shall find out how it affects Annika. Anyway, continue.
Before you know it, you're stuck in a cycle. The same struggles, now with added dependency on medication. The meds cause the brain to need them in order for you to feel normal. There's a better way forward, one rooted in empowering your brain. When you address the root causes of brain health, healing becomes not only possible, but lasting. I like to say, get your brain healthy and your mind will follow.
For some people, for sure. I mean, like, backstory with me, I had very, very significant depression, and it still does pop up every so often, but basically I was able to get off of my psychiatric medication. So I was taking sertraline for quite a few years, and like, it is possible to get off of that and not relapse. And the thing that helped me was like doing a lot of those behavioral changes, mostly getting myself out of the very stressful situations. Like, again, coming back to stress and everything. But I also started working on my diet for depression based on the research. One day, maybe I'll come out with some things about what to do to help your depression using nutrition. One of those things is having a lot of oranges. Like I said, oranges is one of the few things that actually has been depicted to improve your depression. And other things like exercising regularly, creating those habits, having a partner who is, quite honestly, I think, like the most amazing person in the entire universe. Just so entirely supportive. But yeah, I don't know. Those are my thoughts. It depends on the person. And I think it can be empowering to like let people know that it is possible to get off your medication. For some people, it definitely depends on your personal situation though. So.
Every supplements everyone should take a multiple vitamin.
Sorry, did he just say the top supplement everyone should take is a multivitamin? I think that's what he said. Does he read the research? Okay, first off, I don't care if you take a multivitamin. However, the research says it is doing statistically nothing for you. So I don't know why he would recommend that. Maybe he hasn't read the research yet. Maybe he doesn't research before he makes his reels. No, a multivitamin's not going to do anything for you statistically. I will say, though, some specific multivitamins. So there is a actually researched multivitamin. It's more of a micronutrient. It's from Hardy Nutritionals. I'm not affiliated with them. They actually don't do affiliate marketing, which I think, again, I love that because they're an actual ethical company and they have actual research studies backing their stuff. But they have like a formula that actually makes a lot of these vitamins bioavailable, and it actually does help with your mental health. So that is one of the few supplements that I would recommend a person try if they have difficulties with mood regulation especially. But not just a general one. Yeah.
And we're just deficient as a society in things like magnesium and potassium.
Conversely, eat more plants. Because that's where you're going to find your magnesium and potassium and literally every single other food or nutrient that we tend to be deficient in. Plants. If you're getting any of this, just plants.
Everybody should also take omega-3 fatty acid supplement.
Also, I do not agree with this one. I think people should be eating more fatty fish and shrimp. The reason is because we don't see omega-3 supplements working very effectively. It's likely because the manufacturers just don't care and they just want to like pump out stuff, and then when we get it, it's oxidized, and so it doesn't actually help our brain and it doesn't help our body because it's oxidized. So, like, no. Omega-3 supplements just like statistically aren't affecting your cardiovascular health. They statistically are not affecting your ADHD. What is going to help is your fish. But if you really want to take a supplement, an algae-based supplement it tends to be a little bit better, especially if you have it with the extra virgin olive oil in it, so that it makes sure that it doesn't oxidize by the time it gets to you. Okay, but what are the odds he gives you some supplements from his store after this? I wonder.
Huge fan of high quality, highly purified fish oil. Brain MD, we make omega-3 power. 2 capsules, 2.8 grams of fish oil.
There it is. There is the supplement plug-in. Yeah, Mikey, fish, super good for depression. That is also true. I'm not into all of the bipolar research. That is like one of my later ones. I want to get more into the autism one first and then probably bipolar after. But yeah, fish is just, it's so good for us. If you can have a fish meal once a week, like you're doing some good stuff for your body. I know it can be expensive though. That's the hard part. So.
And the right balance of EPA and DHA. And then you should know and optimize your vitamin D level. It's a blood.
Okay, this one actually, vitamin D. That is, I'd say that is a supplement that almost every person with, just in general, should take. Obviously, test your levels first, but we do see that it does help almost every single person with any sort of mental health condition. And it is actually one of the 5 supplements that could potentially help ADHD, which is kind of wild. So, yeah. But like also you have to be careful with it, and you need to make sure that you are testing your levels, and also you need to make sure that you're having enough fat. And something super interesting is that if you want to absorb more vitamin D outside, you could actually put avocado oil on your like arms before you go outside, and it can actually increase how much vitamin D you are absorbing. I just think that's a really funny thing, but you can do that. Conversely, just consume more avocados. I wish I liked avocados. I don't like avocados. I think they just bad. I just can't. But I will have a lot of avocado oil. Anyway, vitamin D, that is actually a pretty good one. But again, talk to your doctor. Make sure that you are getting the good stuff. Also, make sure that you're not like, ideally we want it with magnesium, and we also want it with vitamin K. Usually it comes with vitamin K too. And that makes sure that like it actually gets absorbed by your body, and then also it goes to like the areas of your body that aren't going to get calcified. So, cool stuff.
Blood test. You should know your vitamin D and work to optimize it every day, either by taking a supplement or getting more sun in a healthy way.
Oh, another kind of fun fact about vitamin D is that it does not help depression if you are financially insecure. Again, it comes down to those social determinants of health, right? Like, what is actually going on in your, life? Your body can't absorb nutrients if it is in a state of stress because it is diverting a lot of these things into these chronic states of basically, I'm not going to digest anything. Even if you're giving me stuff, I'm not going to digest it and it's not going to go to the appropriate places. And so this is where we need to actually address the root cause, which is the systemic aspects of stress, which includes, financial insecurity, stuff like that. But yeah, my zinc, that is also a very, very important one. I love zinc. Zinc is so wonderful. Ooh, we are almost at the last 3. Let's go. Ooh, is your OJ... Okay, I wonder if he's actually going to talk about the OJ study he was about to say and then went to Coca-Cola. What are the odds he, skips over something with OJ? That'd be hilarious if he, just says something about orange juice and then skips it.
Hi, this is Dr. Daniel Amen, and this is your 1-minute brain boost. Did you know a common chemical in weed killers, glyphosate, found in foods like oatmeal, orange juice, and even some waters, could harm your brain?
It could. Actually, it could. Which is kind of crazy. Especially if you specifically eat about a truckload of oats, it could harm your brain. If you consume these things in the amounts you normally consume, it's not going to do anything to your brain and it's not neurotoxic because the glyphosate that we have, it's not impacting us in the way that he's talking about it because it's just the dose is so low. Now, if you are a person who is working on a farm that's spraying the glyphosate, yeah, that is actually not good for your body. And we appreciate you doing all the stuff so that we can eat, but that, yeah, we should figure out some regulations to make sure that those people are protected. But it's not impacting us. So whatever.
A recent study showed that even low doses of glyphosate caused Alzheimer's-like changes in mice brains.
There it is. Mice brains. Guess what? We are humans. Also, the low dose that he's talking about, maybe I'm going to go into a rabbit hole after this and try to find that study that he's saying. Because, again, it's super annoying that he's not linking these studies, but whatever. But the low dose is actually still way higher because that is something that we see consistently in every single study pretty much that is hey, this is going to make your brain worse because it's making things worse in rats. And it is literally at a dose that is almost unconsumable in a person and you would die from overeating the food first. Yeah. Okay.
Including inflammation and nerve damage in just a few months. This is alarming since glyphosate is widely used in agriculture and found in many everyday products. In fact, it's found in virtually all American bodies. Protect your brain by choosing organic foods. Avoid.
Okay. Choose organic foods if you want to avoid pesticides. No. That organic food still has pesticides. It's just expensive food. Conversely, if you do have the ability to grow all your own food, that is actually more than likely better for your body. But we actually don't have any evidence that organic food improves in general health. So, yeah.
Avoiding processed foods and supporting stricter regulations on harmful chemicals.
You know, actually, I do support stricter regulations on harmful chemicals, but you know what? The current administration in the United States, guess what it has done? The complete opposite. Which I don't understand. Why are so many people yeah, let's make America healthy again, and then completely ignore the fact that we're rolling back all of these different things that are actually making us healthy? That does not compute in my brain. I don't understand what's happening. Seriously. Reversing asbestos? No, we want to not have that. I can't sometimes. Also, he didn't say anything about orange juice. I want to know what his thoughts are on orange juice. Why is he not telling me any of this? Yeah, no, he didn't say anything about orange juice. I'm dying. Okay, two more. Let's do this.
So if you're an adult
Whoa, that
with
was loud.
ADD and you don't want to take stimulants, or you can't take stimulants, what are some of the natural treatments? Exercise, always. So important.
Yeah, actually that one, way more important than anything else, except for sleep potentially. But yeah, exercise is one of the most important ways to improve your ADHD, without using stimulants.
EPA fish oil. So
No. Nope. Our current research says that fish oil supplements do not help your ADHD. I will say, though, that the ADHD body does process omega-3s differently, specifically the EPA aspect of omega-3s, which if you haven't read my blog yet, you 100% should, because that has all the other stuff. And also, if you're in my newsletter, you also get access to all of those things so that you don't miss anything about ADHD nutrition, so make sure that you're in that. But yeah, if he's gonna plug his supplement, it's just the supplements don't work. The fish, yeah. Supplements, no.
a lot of omega-3 fatty acids. People think brain and DHA, well, it's not been shown to be helpful for people who have ADD, but higher in...
Okay. Maybe he does know the research. Yeah, I think he might have just said that it doesn't technically help people with ADHD. Well, he said ADD, but whatever. Wait. Okay, but wait, am I missing something here? Did he just say natural treatment for ADHD is omega-3 EPA, and then omega-3 supplements don't? Did he just say that? Maybe I missed it. Maybe he said something about DHA.
EPA can be really helpful. Also, rhodiola, ashwagandha, and tyrosine.
Okay, so rhodiola, we have no research on that one for ADHD. I do like it for depression, though. If you are not on any serotonin medication. Yeah, rhodiola rosacea, it actually does have some good research behind it. I don't remember what he said the other one. Oh, ashwagandha. We do have some research on ashwagandha and ADHD. It specifically doesn't help with ADHD, but it does help with the emotional regulation aspects of ADHD. So, that is a possibility if you want to explore that. But just know it's not going to help your, specific ADHD symptoms. And all the studies we have are really small, but I don't know. And then the tyrosine one, again, the studies we have are super small. The last one we have was from the 1990s, and it had 12 people in it, and it only worked for approximately, I don't remember. I think it was a 5-week study, if I remember correctly, now that I think about it more. I do have a post on it somewhere a while ago. Should probably dig that up. That has the specific research on it. So, I don't know. Yeah, there are things that you can have, natural treatments for ADHD. But I don't think that he knows what he's talking about. Also, hi, Matthew. Welcome. Yeah, it's totally going to be, re-existing. So,
Tyrosine is the amino acid building block for dopamine, and a lot of my patients find 1,000 or 1,500 milligrams of tyrosine twice a day can make a huge positive difference for them. So if you're an adult...
Oh, that is just such a loud ding. Oh my gosh. I'm actually kind of surprised that he didn't plug his own stuff there, because that's what he usually does, but whatever. I think that's super funny that he said, like, omega-3s can work, and then, like, but also they don't work. So, like, I don't know what's going on here. I can make a real one that makes sense. And it would be exercise, sleep, and diet. And also overthrow the entire system that is making us have a ton of stress. That will help our ADHD. Okay, last one, y'all. And then it's almost 6 o'clock for me. I can't believe that.
5 things I would not do if I had ADD or ADHD. I wouldn't be sedentary.
Okay, true. I also do not recommend being sedentary.
Exercise is the universal treatment for ADD. All 7 types. Yes, there are 7 types of
There are not 7 types. Okay, continue.
ADD. I wrote about it in my book, Healing ADD.
Oh my gosh, healing ADD. It's so gross. Why would you call a book Healing ADD unless you it's gross. That's just, I can't. I don't have a better word for it than that.
Exercise helps all of them. I would get off your phone.
Also, honestly, yeah. Dopamine is a huge thing with our phones, and that is actually why I have my specific no phone weekends. I do that, and I recommend you do that. I also don't have any social medias after 5 p.m. except for today because we were just hanging out and chilling. But that is something that's really helpful. And honestly, it's not specifically getting off of your phone that's helpful. It's more like not having notifications on your phone. The notifications are really bad for us. Like all the social media notifications, all those game notifications you're getting, the only notification you should have is the notifications for my Discord server. If you're not in the Discord, come join. That's my plug. Okay, continue.
Gadgets addict you and they steal dopamine, and ADD basically is a dopamine deficit disorder. I would not...
It's not a dopamine deficit disorder. Bro's a psychiatrist. You can't just say something like that. It is a dopamine dysregulation disorder. And honestly, super fun fact, come to my live stream next week, July 1st. I actually am going to present my new theory about ADHD, and it's going to completely blow your mind. And yeah, I'm not going to say anything more about that. Okay.
Eat a lot of carbs like sugar and bread, pasta, potatoes, rice, fruit juice. Why? Because carbs raise serotonin in the brain and make you happy. But they also, serotonin and dopamine counterbalance.
Wait, okay, I'm so sorry. This is not what I was expecting him to say. I thought he was going to say, carbohydrates increase your inflammation. And now he's saying it's bad because it gives you serotonin? I'm not following. Okay, continue.
Once each other, as serotonin goes up, dopamine goes down. So
I don't know if he's a psychiatrist. He's definitely not a neurologist. There's no way he just said that. Maybe he's trying to be super simple. But even if you simplify the neurotransmitters like that, it still doesn't... No. It's not a seesaw. You don't just have more dopamine then you have less serotonin, and then you don't have less serotonin then more dopamine. That is not how that works. That is a completely different direction than I was thinking he was going to go. My take on carbs though, yeah. again, like, you don't need to have a lot of carbohydrates, and ideally we're not having a lot, but it's specific types of carbohydrates. We want to have a lot of the fibrous carbohydrates. I think that's what people get wrong. Like, they have like too many of like the starchy carbohydrates and more of like the refined carbohydrates and not enough of the fibery carbohydrates. Like, that's just the thing. Like, carbohydrates are fine and they're like pretty good for us. It's just the ratios that are wrong. But
You can't concentrate, but you sort of don't care that you can't concentrate and get things done. Eliminate the simple carbs. I would never take someone else's Adderall or someone else's Ritalin. Never. Because you might have a different type of ADD, and that might disrupt you, make you anxious, irritable.
I mean, in general, it's good not to take other people's medication. Especially if you're like being illegal about it. Like, let's not steal people's meds. But like, if you're on the like literal same medication, I just don't really understand this one. But now he's plugging his 7 different types of ADHD. I bet ADD, well, whatever, gross.
Will actually cause relationship problems. And I would never give up hope, because what I've seen based on the work we do at Amen Clinics, people with ADD get dramatically better. Things.
Okay, yeah. Also, though, yes, don't give up hope. Like, things do get better. It just like takes a long time after you've been diagnosed to like put a lot of these habits into practice that reduce your symptomology. Like, it does take a lot of time. But okay. Wow, that was we did it. We went through a ton. I did not think this was going to take 2 hours. Huge shout out to the person who told me on TikTok that I just was not streaming on YouTube. I can't believe that, but whatever. If you have any other thoughts or in general, make sure that you're in the Discord, because that is where I actually hang out and talk with all y'all. That's where you can actually ask real questions, because honestly, I get overwhelmed very easily in my DMs, and then I stop responding to people, and then it gets just in general overwhelming. And so the Discord is where we hang out. And then again, July 1st, make sure that you put it on your calendar. Oh my gosh. Put it on your calendar right now, 7 p.m. Central Time. Again, you'll get the notifications in the Discord. That is where we are doing the whole, what am I talking about? Rebrand. So I'm turning into the NutriMind Lab. This is my new logo. Isn't that super cute? I made it myself. Not to toot my own horn or something, but like, I think I'm pretty cool. But we are going to do giveaways. We are going to do, you're going to learn about the new theory that I have that I've been working on. You are going to, if you are a part of the Patreon, you get a fun strawberry necklace that I'm making myself. If you don't want a necklace, I can make a keychain for you instead. And I don't know, it's going to be super fun. And then I'm also announcing the launch of a few different things that you do not want to miss. So make sure that you are there. Make sure you have the notifications on. And in general, I will see you wherever you land. So thanks so much for hanging out today. And I'll talk to you next week.